this is Bess, and I'm so excited. This is Miss Alysha Wilson. She is, hi, Alysha.
Hi, girl. How are you?
I'm well, honey. How are you?
Living the dream, man. Living
I
the dream.
love it. I love it. So I've known Alysha for what, a decade, if not more?
That would reveal our age a lot more appropriately, but yeah, it's been a hot minute.
I love it. And you know what? Alysha is a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, a business owner. I absolutely adore you. And I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you, Bess, and thank you for having me on. Like you said, I feel like we have known each other in so many different levels of life, so it's really kind of fun to meet here and get to talk about some good stuff, because we've definitely known each other for so long that we've both seen each other grow. So thank you so much for having me.
100% virtual it is nowadays with COVID and all, but it is what it is.
Virtual hugs.
Virtual hugs. Well, what I would like to do is, would you mind taking a moment to please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and more specifically your success in business over the years?
Well, thank you for that. So yeah, I started pretty humbly. I went to college, did the normal, this is what you're supposed to do. I was out of college for about 6 months in the field that I got a degree in, and I realized I hate this. This is never going to work for me. So I really just started my business with a passion, which at the time I found health and wellness, and it kind of enriched my life and was something that I didn't have in mind. And so I was doing it just for myself. And I thought, I love this so much. It's a reason I want to get out of bed in the morning. Like, why wouldn't I want to turn this into a business? So like you said, I started very humbly. I started as a trainer. I started as a boxing coach, did the brick and mortar clients all day long. And then very quickly realized where the industry was going and moved my business almost 6 years now to being completely 100% virtual. So I run a fitness and nutrition virtual coaching, and we work with clients all over the world. And then through that, I've been able to kind of pivot business a little bit and create a lifestyle brand that really kind of has health and wellness at the forefront, but we kind of also get to dab into a lot of different things. Becoming a mother, I've been able to include that in our brand. And now the last year I really focused on really working with the pre and postnatal world. So I am a pelvic floor and core specialist, and that's what I do a lot these days. But yeah, we do all of it and any of it. And I love my job. I mean, like, work gratitude is like here, but it took a while to get there.
It always does. It always does. Well, obviously being so successful, I mean, like you said, this didn't come overnight and you had your struggles. Knowing what you know now, if you had to start all over again, what would that process look like?
I think starting a business right now in today's climate is very intimidating because there is a lot of the unknown. But I think it's important to realize that no matter what is going on culturally in our world, there's never a guaranteed finish. There's never, no one, a lot of people write books on this, but you're going to end up writing your own no matter what. So I guess my first initial response in telling someone starting a business right now is that quit waiting for the ducks to be in a row. They're never going to be in a row. The best thing you can do is start. And when you start, know that you're not just going to be investing in a company, whether you're a service-based company, a product-based company. You need to be investing in yourself. And one of my biggest advice, and something that I am extremely grateful for, is that I had a lot of mentors along the way. I sought out people that were doing what I was doing it and doing it very well at a very high level. And I came to them and was like, I want to know, I want to learn, like, let me be a sponge and soak up. And I was willing to work to do that. So don't be afraid to reach out, and there is nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know what you're doing. Every business owner was there. Find people who do know and learn from them. And then really just if we're being super specific about to right now, it is a great opportunity. You have a very, very specific timeline right now for an audience who is you have their attention. We're all at home. We're all very connected to social media right now. There's an audience there. So definitely put emphasis that right now is a great time to start a business, because if you have your niche and you have your target audience, they're there and they want to listen.
100% agree with you. It's this, in a way, this has been almost a blessing for this type of virtual online business and starting all over again. But with that comes obviously fear, and a lot of people have the issue with fear. So do you feel like you've had to overcome, or what was your biggest fear you had to overcome when you started yours?
That's a good question. I have to really think about that. But to make a very long story very short, I started my company probably in, I don't want to say like rock bottom, because it really was, in the grand scheme of things, it's not rock bottom. But at the time, that's what it felt like. I had moved to a city. I was living out of my car. I did not know a single person. All of these grand plans that I had made up fell through. And there I was, kind of with nothing. And I thought, well, I can go back home, I can give up, and I can always wonder what I could have done with that, or I can just start and I can do something. So I know about starting with fear. And here's the thing, fear can be the gasoline that totally lights your fire, or it can burn you to the ground. And you really decide what you want to do with it. And something that always pops into my head is I would get 10 business cards, and I would say, I'm not coming home until I pass out these 10 business cards. And even if you start on a grassroots level like that, as an example, it's having that drive, having a plan behind it, and having something you can measure. I think it's really hard, especially with so many online businesses starting at the same time. There's a lot of saturation. There's a lot of fear of, how do I stick out? How is my company going to reach who I want to when there's all these other companies? And I think you really have to look at just what's your why in the first place. And if it's a purpose-driven business, if it's a passion-driven business, you will stick out, but have your plan, how you're going to do that.
Yeah, 100%. You know, this whole theme, every interview seems to come back to the why and finding your purpose, and the fact that it does shift as you progress. So I brought that up. Define success for us. What does success mean to you?
You know, I was like, I feel like she's gonna ask me something like this. So I did cheat, and I did do a little bit of homework on this one, just because it was funny. I thought that, and I was like, what does that mean to me? And by definition, success is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. And I was like, I love that. But then I looked up what the definition of successful was, and it's the attainment of popularity or profit. And I thought, wow, wanting to become successful might be the one thing that robs you of success. Because if you are solely starting your business for recognition, if your ego is in the driver's seat, if, you know, on a monetary level is the only way that you can gauge your success, I think personally for me, especially in that has robbed me of success a lot. I've made accomplishments that I never recognized because they weren't fitting the mold of what I thought was successful. So for me, back to your question, I think being successful is really showing up in a genuine space as myself with my company and what I can do with my community. That is extremely important to me, and it makes me feel very successful. But then also having the ability to evolve and grow, and each year, you know, my life changes, and guess what? My business changes with it. So success is a lot of just that feeling of I'm bringing my business with me in my life, and I'm showing up genuine and passionate every day.
Yeah, I love that. That is so nice. Amazing. So you have 2 babies now, and
Yeah, I had to
it's 2, right? Not 3? I'm just making sure.
It's, yeah, just two boys. Yeah, 2 boys.
So, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, you work from home full time, and you have for years, and you've got 2 little ones running around. Obviously, your husband is an amazing guy, I know, but what do you find, like, what's the struggle here? Is there a struggle there to maintain work versus personal? How do you go about it?
Sure. Here's the thing. Everyone has, and I don't really think of it as a struggle, but has obstacles for sure. Whether you have kids, don't have kids, you've got dogs, you've got families, like, let's put it this way. Everyone has their own shit. Excuse my French. Everyone has it. So the first thing I had to learn is to get out of a victim mentality, that I was different and that I was special because I had so many more things than anyone else did to accomplish it. I really think something that's super vital when you're running a business is to not be so reactive. And that's what I've had to learn as a mother and as a business owner, is that I only am allotted a certain amount of energy in a day. And if I spend it being emotionally reactive to every single obstacle in my day, I'm worn out by noon, girl. And my days start really, really early with little ones. So I guess that is how I manage just how I react to things. And, obstacles are one thing. How you pivot and learn from them is really just kind of like building your stamina as a business owner. Now I kind of like, things will come at me and I'm like, oh, been there, done that. I know I don't need to, I don't need to freak out about that. I've been there and done that. There's a lot of days that still get out of hand and I'm not graceful. And guess what? Life moves on and you wake up and you show up the next day. But structure is key. And then just rolling with the punches when that to-do list completely falls apart. I read this amazing book. It's called The Happiness Project. I'm not sure if you've ever read it. And the only thing I took from this book that like really resonated with me was the definition of power hour, which is an hour in your day that you put all the mundane, just really just kind of tasks that you don't like to do. You put it in your day, you get an hour and you get it done. And I, every single day, implement a power hour into my day. And that kind of helps me get work done, to have a little time for myself and family life and all of the things.
I like that. I'm going to have to try this power hour.
Yeah, it's
very interesting.
And at first you're like, I think I want my power hour to just be a nap. And you're like, nah, girl, don't work like that.
I was going to say, that sounds about right. That's cute. What does your morning routine look like? Because we all have our routines that keep us, help us set our intention and get through the day. What do you do? What works for you?
I have these very grand plans in my head, how I would love my mornings to go. Very rarely does it happen. It is from the time your feet hit the floor at my house. Like I said, my boys, they're wild and they're wonderful and I love that about them, but mornings are pretty crazy. So I'd be lying if I told you I had a routine that I do every single day. But one thing I do before I get out of bed, even if it's just 30 seconds, I do actually have mantras and I have intentions that I set for my day. And sometimes it's just when my feet hit the floor, I'm going to see my day in a positive way. I mean, just anything simple. I'm very, very big about being intentional about how you start your day. Also, water before coffee. I swear by it. I like to get my day going before I start stimulating myself. And that just goes into a lot of my background, with health and wellness. Just how am I fueling my body internally? So how I can react outwardly is very big for me. And then I always, no matter what, try to have some sort of movement in my day. It doesn't always happen in the morning. I like it too. But those three things, intentions, nutrition, water, and movement, are super crucial for me to have a successful day.
I love that.
What about you? I'm curious what your morning routine is.
Mine has changed actually. Recently, I have this thing where now the first 30 minutes I wake up, I lay in bed and I listen to meditation type of affirmations. And then I set my intent and then I get up and then I hit the gym and then I come back and I actually write now. I've always been told to write stuff in a journal and I never did it until the last probably 3 months. And I absolutely love it. I'll sit down and I'll just put down what I'm grateful for and what I envision I want and how much time I'm willing to give myself to get it. I don't know how I'll get it, but I just put it out there, and I just know, okay, thank you so much. I'm so happy and grateful that by this time I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know how, but I'm open to receiving. And that has actually literally shifted the whole energy around me. Hence why we're doing the summit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been phenomenal. So, and then after that, of course, I started the work day and, yeah.
I love that though. I feel like I can go into a day with a clear head, and I'm so much sharper when I start there, you know?
100%. Well, let me ask you, so we're really focusing on marketing, business development, sales, and mind body wellness in relation to people starting or running a business, really. You've built quite the success. I mean, I follow you. I've done interviews with you, and I've watched you go from, like you described at the beginning, from the very beginning all the way through, and what you've done, and I take my hat off to you. What would you consider one of the biggest pillars of profitability is for in relation to your business? Is it the marketing, online marketing, the business development, the sales, the mindset, and body wellness? I know they all play together, but what specifically?
I think specifically, because my business, I have products, but I'm dominantly a service-based industry in general. That's really where I start with and where I end with. And right now, everyone is so focused on reaching the masses, the likes, the follows, which does have some importance. I'm not going to negate that. But what you kind of miss while you're trying to build this following is the people who are there and who you do have that attention from your target audience. They forget to enrich that. So what has been super beneficial for me is creating not only just a really great, genuine relationship with my audience, but client relationships. People think because we've moved online, there's not that client relationship, and it's absolutely there, and it will pay you in tenfold. For example, I kind of did this talk on a story the other day on my Instagram, and there's so much mass marketing. So everyone has had, the random DMs, and the random people reaching out to you. The time it takes to send a random DM to a stranger, you could take that same time, check in on a current client or a past client, building your email list, building your referral basis. This is such an untapped resource for online businesses. And I always say, if social media died tomorrow, my business would still make it and it would still thrive because of the attention I put into the people that invested in me in the first place. There's something to be said about a market that's very saturated, like the industry that I'm in, fitness, where people are like, there's just so many, but there's not so many that really make an effort to care about their audience and care about their customers. So if you're looking for a way to stand out, if you're looking for a way to invest your time into a business, invest it into the people who are already there. And to kind of piggyback off of that, I'm a big believer in quality content. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to always have a professional photo shoot or a professional videographer there. But when you're asking someone to invest in your product or your service, and then they look at what you're presenting on a virtual level, you're asking them for their money, but they're seeing that you're not willing to invest your own in what you're putting out there for them. And I always say, when everything I do on my social media, it should inform, it should educate, it should entertain, or it should at least be exciting. If you're not doing one of those things, then you're kind of wasting time, and your target audience will think the same thing. So that's really my two biggest things that have helped make my business successful, and that I lean on year in and year out. No matter how the tide changes, it will never change what I invest back into the people who've already invested in me.
Yeah, I mean, you literally created your own community, and you're very right. You have to maintain who's already loyal to you, and then you get that in return tenfold. And I mean, it's definitely, a lot of people had a hard time shifting and pivoting to that type of relationship and how to handle the business development with their clientele over the last few months, for sure. We've noticed that.
Yeah.
So that's
and I'm sure you've, in all of the industries that you've been in, I feel like you're a jack of all trades, Vesla. You've done it all, been there, done that. That I truly feel, and maybe this is the old fashioned or traditional part of me, but your customer is your heartbeat of your company. And if you're not in tune with them, of not just what they want to see and what, educates them and what makes them excited, but truly like what they need that you can provide, you're going to lose the heartbeat of your company, because that's really what it is.
It's all about providing value tenfold. I agree with you 100%.
Amen. Amen.
So where can our audience find you? Your website is up. I know that. Would you run us through?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple, AlyshaWilson.com, where you'll find just basically all of the different services that I offer, whether it be one-on-one coaching, whether it be pelvic floor and core coaching. I mean, there's a little bit of everything on there. I also have just more of individual programs. So for people who have a really great base in fitness, but they're just trying to specifically do one approach with their nutrition. We just released a really excited program, or a program that I'm excited about, which is DNA-based custom programming. So we actually do DNA genetic testing and write you programs off of basically what your DNA genetic makeup is. So the accuracy is amazing. Taking the guesswork out for what your body needs is amazing. That's a project I'm super excited about. And then, as always, I'm up to all the crazy things on my Instagram, which is Alysha A. Wilson, ALYSHAAWILSON. I always have to spell that out. So yeah, anyone can always contact me there. I actually love talking to people on my Instagram, even if it's just a question about health and fitness.
Yeah, you're very responsive and very sweet. So I'm sure people will be reaching out. I'm curious about this DNA situation. I'll definitely check that out.
Girl, hit me up. I was so mad when I found out that my body actually loved fats, and I hadn't been eating fats in like 3 years. And I was like, oh, bacon, butter, all the goodness, bring it to me. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
I love it. Well, I've been on keto for 4 years, so we'll see what happens. I definitely want to check it out, though. I think the older you get, I mean, we both were in the fitness industry and we both do the nutrition thing, but the older I get, the more I start to care now. Not that I didn't before, but before, it's like, oh, okay, I got this. Now it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Other things start to affect you, and your body starts to change, and your hormone levels change, and yeah. So
I need it all. At 21, you're like, After 30, I'm like, I need it all. Yeah. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I tell you what, I started working out again consistently, because back in the day, if you skip a couple of days, no big deal. Now you skip a day. Okay.
Oh, humbled. And that's my youngest just turns 14 months. And it's really nice when you get to this age, and I think a lot of women can relate to this, when you're outside of the aesthetics, okay, and you're like, how do I feel? Mm-hmm. Like you just like, health really becomes a priority, and you can kind of put the aesthetics aside. I mean, of course, yes, we all love them. I mean, I would not have a job if no one cared about that. But really, like, just taking a health focus is kind of one of my favorite things about being in this stage of life, is that I've kind of went past needing all these other things. Now I just really need to feel good and show up for myself and my family. And, like you said, like, being consistent can do that for you. So I'm proud of you, girl.
Well, thank you. Working on it. Every day I learn something new.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I cannot thank you enough for being here with us today and taking the time. I know you've been so busy, but I really look forward to having you again. We're going to definitely do this again.
Thank you guys so much, Bess. You got my heart, girl. I love you. And like I said, thank you for letting me share my 2 cents. I appreciate it.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye, girl.